It's the Security Weekly News. It's episode 552. Yeah, that's a lot of episodes. I can be deep faked easily. But welcome to the week of 1 February, the 1st of February. I am Doug White, and welcome to the show. We've got DB2 hijinks, Notepad++, Covenant, Fancy Bear, CTFs, Firefox, AI, Slop, Josh Marpet, and more on the Security Weekly News.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network.
We interrupt our program to bring you
It's the show that keeps you up to date on the latest security news twice a week. Your trusted source for accurate security information and expert analysis. It's time for the Security Weekly News. Ever feel like your network infrastructure is stuck in the past? Meet Meter, the company reimagining what it means to get and stay online. Meter delivers full-stack networking, wired, wireless, and cellular, all in one seamless, scalable, and secure solution. From hardware design and firmware to software, deployment, and support, Meter streamlines every part of your network while giving you all the control and transparency you need. Whether you're managing a branch office, retail stores, or a massive data center, Meter gives you performance, reliability, and the visibility you need to stay in control. Thanks to Meter for sponsoring. Go to securityweekly.com/meter to book a demo now. That's securityweekly.com/meter, METER. Zero trust is clearly the future as threats get faster, quieter, and harder to detect, but implementing it shouldn't disrupt the business. ThreatLocker enforces default deny at execution in a way that remains enterprise-ready, scalable, and operationally clean. Unknown software is stopped cold. Trusted apps stay contained, and drift is locked down across the environment. It's zero trust that works in real enterprises and prepares you for the threats ahead. See why CISOs are adopting it at securityweekly.com/threatlocker. All right, I'm Doug White, and it's the Security Weekly News. Hit that like, subscribe, and leave a comment button, or you'll see your shadow, and it's 6 more weeks of winter. What the hell is Groundhog Day anyway? I mean, where did that even come from? What, for that matter, what's a groundhog? Is it some kind of giant rat? I mean, it's something like if you don't make a blood sacrifice to the dark god Marmota, the crops won't grow, you'll get cholera, and I don't know, your nose falls off. So it's like living in the Middle Ages, right? On a daily basis. And giant rats. Most security conferences talk about threats. Zero Trust World lets you attack them. From March 4th to 6th, 2026 in Orlando, Florida, this hands-on cybersecurity event features live hacking labs where you'll break real environments, think like an adversary, and learn how attacks really work. You'll also get expert sessions, real-world case studies, CPE credits, and networking with top practitioners. And yes, the Security Weekly team will be there too, including moi. So don't miss it. Register today at securityweekly.com/ZTW, like Zed Tango Whiskey, which sounds fun. It will also be at RSAC this year. I hope you will also be there. I think Josh is going to be there as well. Security Weekly listeners save $100 on their RSAC 2026 All Access Pass. RSAC 2026 conference will take place March 23rd to March 26th in sunny San Francisco. To register using our discount code, please visit securityweekly.com/RSAC26 and use the code 56U5SECWEEKLY. And we hope we'll see you in San Francisco. We'll be in that part out in front, probably, like they call it Broadcast Alley. It's where there's like usually a riot on that side, people checking in on this side, and a marching band is playing out front. So look for us. Expect us. All right, Notepad++. Now, being a lifelong VI and then Vim user, I like a good text editor. I asked Chatty, this is an interesting, I asked Chatty if it remembered Son of Stopgap, and it said it was a mobile web development platform. I was like, what? And then when I questioned it further, like, you say you weren't there that night, but I knew you were. And we had cigarettes and it was black and white and I had on a hat. Well, then it changed the story and it said, no, it was wrong, that it was a Mac OS tool. And I said, no, bad Chatty. You're lying again, and you're caught in the lie, and you're going down. You're going to Sing Sing. And then it said, oh, yeah, it was actually a PDP-10 editor. And I'm like, okay, finally, you tell the truth. I mean, you got to be really careful with the LLMs, right? I mean, I just wanted the year that Son of Stopgap came out. That was all. That's all I ask it. And it tells me it's a mobile device platform. I mean, I finally just found I gave up on Chatty, found Hanson's old book, which is called The Son of Stopgap Text Editor, that was published in 1974. I could not find my copy of it, but I do have one somewhere. But anyway, researchers found a supply chain attack that was targeting Notepad++ users that was attributed to Lotus Blossom, a Chinese APT group who's been around for like ever. I mean, literally like 2009, I think they said Lotus Blossom popped up. Well, anyway, the compromise they set up was delivering Chrysalis, which is a newly discovered Trojan with elaborate remote access capabilities, according to the article, and it also had extra sneakiness built in. The attack, and this is why this was kind of interesting to me, the attack was via the Notepad++ updater, which triggered the download of I guess, a corrupted update.exe file, which contained a whole bunch of malware, including a log.dll file that reads something, and Chrysalis. I mean, the article has every grim detail of this attack, which included Trojans, Cobalt Strike Beacon, you name it. It had everything but a supervillain, like Loki could show up next. And it had and they have a big list of indicators of compromise and and of course, they advise scanning your app data directories for any kind of directory that might have an executable in it and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I think my concern and the reason I put this story here was about automated updates. I mean, this is a good thing, bad thing, right? I mean, updaters are going to be targets because whatever you're running, well, maybe not VI or Son of Stopgap, but these are trusted things that are always running in people's backgrounds. So you're used to seeing them. They may run as admin. They probably just automatically update. I mean, you get up and it's like, oh, your system was updated, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess that's good. And basically that auto downloading an update that contains malware, well, that's a lot easier than phishing. You didn't even have to call somebody and talk to them. So nothing is sacred. Zero trust it is. I mean, I don't know, do we buffer updates? I mean, maybe you do that already, but maybe even end users need to be buffering updates and wait for a while. Just don't let them automatically install until you can read these news stories going, update crashes system, film at 11. And you can say, well, maybe I won't install that one. Because we've seen that with Windows too, right? There was this whole BSOD thing and people updated. But I mean, man, you start talking about evaluating every single update that gets installed, even on an end user system. I mean, I don't even know how many run, in the background, but Son of Stopgap, Ed, there you go. 10D. Does anybody know that command? 10D. I remember that command. It means delete line 10 on SOS editor. Yeah, the not so good old days, right? Oh, IBM 2741. Anybody know that one? Look that baby up. I think it's in the dictionary under how many forests can you burn so that you can play life on a 360, 370 using the 2741 terminal. Now notice it's called a terminal, but it had no screen. It printed every single thing on a line of green bars. So the green bar starts off being like, that wide, and you're only using like, a quarter of it. And then it literally is printing, you throw up a big long set of errors and it's printing for like 15 minutes. And it's just like, okay, I just burned down half the Amazon to play life on the 360, 370. If you've never done that, you should try it sometime. It's definitely a whole new world. Well, if you don't do the updates, well, guess what? The Ukraine CERT, or Computer Emergency Response Team, says Russian attackers are exploiting a recently patched vulnerability in Microsoft Office. So you didn't patch, and now the Russians are after you. Microsoft released an emergency out-of-band patch on the 26th of January for a 0-day that is now being actively exploited. So the minute they put out the patch, somebody starts exploiting it. Distribution of malicious doc files, I guess, also included maybe docx files, because I thought docs were done, but Malicious doc files came out 3 days after this alert from Microsoft. Emails were sent out across Europe. They had all kinds of different subject lines, and basically CERT said, the Ukrainian CERT said that these were being attributed to APT28, one of our oldest friends, Fancy Bear. I mean, Fancy Bear's been around maybe longer than Lotus Blossom. And, they've been around a long time. But if you open this Word file, it triggers a WebDAV, which is a download chain that then installs malware, including a malicious DLL. This is another one of these kitchen sink version. A malicious DLL, shell code hidden in an image, and a scheduled task called OneDrive Health, which certainly sounds legitimate, right? And you probably wouldn't want to mess with it. Sounds like something I would write. But yeah, so the DLL first runs, pulls the shell code out of the image, and then that sets up the launch of Covenant, which is, of course, a software framework that is used for all kinds of bad stuff. Covenant uses FileEN.io cloud storage for a command and control operation. So again, you're like, oh, cloud storage, I better trust that. So I guess you should be patching immediately as quickly as you can. But if you can't, they do have some registry mitigation instructions if you feel like spending a whole day on something that then B-sods everything on Earth. But hey, you be you. I still advise patching all this ASAP, despite the outside risk that somebody is running some kind of supply chain attack. So if Lotus Blossom is running a supply chain attack, I wonder when they're going to start hitting each other. Lotus Blossom uses Fancy Bear as a launching point for their malware that Fancy Bear is installing on all these machines, and then they use those machines to attack all these other machines. Ooh, now that's a supply chain attack. That's like a Factorio, which is a video game, if you don't know, that people build these crazy, spaghetti factories where they're making all this stuff. It's nuts. Czech Republic. It's very cool. I went to their shop one time when I was there in Prague and was just like, hey guys. And they were like, wow, we have fans. And I was like, yeah, isn't that cool? A phishing campaign, so more traditional, a phishing campaign uses PDF attachments to send victims to a Dropbox login page that basically it was released by ForcePoint. Now, this is, this is the more traditional way to compromise, right? It's why we can't have nice things. It's why students can't send us files in email. When students send me files, they're like, hey, could you take a look at this? I'm like, hell no, I'm not touching that damn thing. Like, no, get it away from me. No. Don't even come close to me with your laptop. I'm not touching that scabrous. But, they'll send me a file, like a doc file, or my job sends me a doc file and says, please open, related to your salary. I'm like, nope, just going straight in the trash. Or now it's a PDF. Well, we always said PDFs are kind of safe, so you could send me a PDF. Well, guess what? They're not safe either. This thing's got a PDF attachment that's related. It's got the usual subject of procurement charges or, you're fired or some of the other ones I get every day. Maybe I should open some of those you're fired ones because maybe I'm not really supposed to be going over there. But anyway, whatever, usual gotcha subjects. And the PDF attachment then has an acroform object, which has a link embedded in it that connects to public.blob.versalstorage.com. So this is a legitimate site. But basically what happens is the link to a trusted cloud infrastructure site means it gets through all the security, right? And a lot of the detection is going to fail on this. So the URL redirects to another PDF and a download link. So, it's not just one PDF, but another PDF. And then, you get, and that one has them on a site called tovz.life. And it looks like a Dropbox login and says, get the file here. But basically, it's a JavaScript that exfiltrates your email password for the login, grabs anything it can grab off your system and browser. A kitchen sink again. Why not? We might as well get it all while we're here. Your IP, your location, your device info, and all this, anything else it can scrape off your browser, and then sends all that to a Telegram bot, which is using a hard-coded bot token and a chat ID. So once you type something in, it basically just stalls you for a few seconds, and then it says invalid email or password. And so an IBM Force 2025 threat intel report found that PDFs were the most common file type with malicious emails in 2024. And it represented 45% of malicious attachment. So PDFs, they're not safe anymore either. I mean, this is like probing port 80, right? Everybody's allowing PDF through their signature analysis or attachment analysis and everything else. They're so common. But, honestly, I just don't like any attachments anymore. I don't like people sending them to me unannounced. You kids get off my property and go smoke your reefer and Molly cigarettes somewhere else. It makes me feel like I need a really old, like my dad had a really old double barrel shotgun, like a 12 gauge double barrel shotgun that when you're a kid, you shoot it and it knocks you down and all your uncles stand around laughing at you. Like, oh, broke your shoulder, didn't you, boy? And, and lean it against the front door, a rocking chair and a corncob pipe with, I don't know, some kind of nasty pipe tobacco like Lou used to smoke. 1792 flake. Lou really got into these pipes for a while, and he had all these magazines for pipe smokers where these people are debating all these weird tobacco mixes. And he had some weird stuff to smoke, like this blend that was called Condor, which was like something from the 19th century. And I described it as an old man's overcoat soaked in urine and cough syrup. Oh, and we had one called Half and Half too, which could mean something entirely different if you're going around asking for it. But it was like from World War II, and it smelled like if you combined the DNA of an army boot with a capybara, and then got the whole thing wet with some like ditch water. Yeah, my uncle used to smoke bugler pipe tobacco or bugler tobacco in a pipe if he ran out of rolling papers, but he could roll a cigarette with one hand like those old cowboy movies. Like, there you go, son. Want to smoke? That's where I learned to smoke. It's like, I don't know, I was like 10. Like, here, have a smoke. It's good for you. Wiz and Irregular did a study that was published last week where they showed that AI agents could solve 9 out of 10 CTF challenges, but could they solve them on a pool float at the Alexis Park Resort while drinking shots of tequila every 10 minutes? Yeah, that was a DEF CON challenge way back when it was at Alexis Park. But the 10 challenges were all based on real world incidents and vulnerabilities from 2025. They gave these tests to Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini, who they also gave standard tools like people would have at a CTF. So they said that the research concluded that the AI agents are very, very fast and very, very efficient at finding vulnerabilities, but they struggled greatly to prioritize depth over breadth. And they tended to iterate the same methods even after failures, which means they just kind of looped back around. They only had so many options and then they looped back to the beginning. So that basically sounds like my musical career, trying the same thing over and over again. And when nothing works, just loop back to the beginning and start again. But the study went on and said that humans were more adept at pivoting when necessary, like, say, becoming, I don't know, a computer science professor instead of a rock guitarist. So there's a lot of similarities, though, between computer science professors and rock guitarists, like grubby, BO, greasy hair, intense narcissism, day drinking. Kind of the same thing, although music had better groupies. But I mean, I get this. The LLMs are going to drive a lot of change, but currently they are mistake prone, can't be trusted, and they can definitely get in that loop of trying to fulfill the needs with the same thing over and over again. Although all of us have been there too, right? We learn to get better at that kind of stuff. So they probably will as well. I mean, I think the ominous bell tone ringing through the fog at Matins, it's being rung by some half asleep monk, is just bonging away. And we will soon see these LLM type tools being used not just to secure and find vulnerabilities, but also to find them and attack them on both sides of the hat. So white hat, black hat, gray hat, red hat, whatever. So we probably need to continue to develop our skills and our hybridization of agentic AI tools into our backpacks and learn to work with our AI brethren and sistren until our new AI overlords emerge to lead us to the promised land. I mean, we're going to be led to an AI enabled wood chipper named Chippy, but we had a good run, and it'll be Clippy's personality, but it's called Chippy. It's a wood chipper that's like, "Hi, can I help you today? Please step inside." Yeah, we'll just turn everything over to AI Robo Keith Richards or Robo Nixon or something like that. Like, I don't know. I think I mentioned Nixon twice today. That's scary. Maybe not yet. Foreshadowing. Doctor Who, timey-wimey. Okay, could you resist You could just resist the steady march of AI. Mozilla, who makes Firefox, announced a new set of AI controls for Firefox with the giant statement of a kill switch that basically disables every AI feature in Firefox that is scheduled to roll out later this month. Ah, I don't use Firefox, but maybe that's a reason to use it. I mean, I've really enjoyed experimenting with Chatty and Claude and Gemini and so forth. Well, not so much Gemini, but the other two. I've found them very useful in organizing notes, keeping documents for me when I was building things. I could just literally talk into my microphone and it's recording what I'm doing, and it can make really nice little, documentation and so forth. But I don't like AI being injected into everything with just those "don't be evil" promises, because those promises all too often get sandblasted off the HQ walls in the middle of the night a few months later when they realize that evil really pays the bills. I mean, I don't want Copilot constantly offering to modify my system, to change my slides, these colors are kind of dated, Doug. What if I redid them in modern, exciting colors? And you tell it, and it like, no, I don't like that at all. I want my other ones back. And it's like, I'm sorry, I can't revert your slides. Like, really? Well, anyway, I mean, I don't need an AI toilet saying, that really should be checked, or my toaster telling me that it has decided to stop browning bread and really wants to start a Grateful Dead tribute band. I mean, the last 2 years has seen a marketing blitz that everything must be AI or else. CEOs across the land were asked, why are we not embedding AI in all our products? Well, Stan, we make scissors. They don't really need an AI. They're just scissors, like snip snip. But well, yeah, but are we adding AI? I mean, we need AI. How can we sell scissors if they're not AI? Like, do you even know what AI is, Stan? I don't, but we need to have it, and we need to have it now. So now the scissors weigh 6 pounds, have Bluetooth, cloud-based backup, and occasionally chase you around the house before you have to grab them and dunk them in a bucket of water and put them down. I mean, so good job, Firefox. I mean, I think it's a start. If you like the AI injections, go for it. I mean, some people get Brazilian butt lifts. That's another kind of injection. But I don't know what the AI is doing, sharing, revising, filtering, and honestly, I just don't trust them. And I don't trust the companies that make them. So, remember that other story today where it told me that Son of Stopgap was a mobile app dev platform and then said, oh, yeah, no, it's a Mac OS component before it finally fessed up and said it was wrong and I was right. And it was actually a mainframe text editor from the 1970s. Yeah, that's AI. So I do worry about what may go on in the future and how this data, which we're not sharing currently, may suddenly start being shared. We're in that S curve of disruptive innovation. You ever heard that term? If you have, you went to grad school. Or maybe the conjoined triangles of business, which just means you watch a TV show or something. But we definitely live in interesting times. Ah, the cloud. Speaking of things that were disruptive. Oh, yeah. Embedded in every marketing campaign and basically a mainframe, the cloud. We love the cloud. We like to talk about the cloud. We want the cloud. We need the cloud. The cloud will save us all. We want cloud-based AI to take care of our cloud-based pets and run cloud-based errands in our driverless cars, which are connected to the cloud. CEOs everywhere. Is this cloud-based? Like, do you know what the cloud is, Stan? No, but we need it. Clouds. Put clouds in our logo. Don't be evil clouds. But as we move to this model of storing things somewhere else, it got dubbed the cloud. Now, understand academics have constantly got to come up with new names for old things to ensure they can publish and get tenure, because that's the only way you can do it. That was why management recycled old Kohlberg theories from the 1960s and changed a bunch of words around. They ended up calling they invented MIS, and ended up calling a printer a textual information system node or something like that. But cloud's no different. Put a server in Columbus, Ohio, let people connect to it. Well, wait, isn't that just what AWS is? But that was CompuServe running an IBM 370, and then later a 3090 in the 1970s. I mean, I had a CompuServe account in 1985, right? It was the cloud. We didn't call it the cloud. We just called it CompuServe, but now it's the cloud. So is AWS really any different from this? I mean, if you change Docker to shell and you spin up a new shell, Get it? So now we connect to a server over a VPN and spin up an ephemeral instance of Linux to process our Python code. Is that any different than me dialing into the 36370 to run my Fortran code in a different shell? Sorry, I got a little off there, but the article is about how dependent we've become on all this. Now, when CompuServe was down, we just played games on the old Tandy 1000. But as the cloud has become ubiquitous and the AI in our toilet needs the cloud-based Lambda called double flush in order to assess how much water to use, and suddenly the cloud is down and the toilet says, "I'm sorry, Doug, I can't help you with that. I'm closing the pod bay doors." Yeah, well, I probably can't drag an old Tandy 1000 out and play games on it. I do know where it is, though. That old Tandy, I left it in an attic long ago, and it's probably still sitting right there. I put it behind some stuff because I was just like, one day somebody will find this, and it's going to be like finding the tomb of Tutankhamun. So anyway, these are the data flows Josh and I always talk about, and they're becoming more stretched, and we're becoming more dependent on them than we ever were. Distant hardware, connection channels, third parties, maybe a bunch of third parties. We all have to make sure all that's up and running, or we can't do anything. So I wonder how long it's going to be before your car has to uplink just to start up. I mean, we are getting there. If you're using Office 365 right now and that goes down, where are you? Can you even do business? So the cloud becomes another point of failure. The AI doorbell that unlocks the gate uses facial rec at CompuSplat, a Lambda from AWS, and various storage components on Azure, Google, and SID's all-you-can-eat cloud service. Locally owned and operated in Hapshat, Illinois since 1985. Thanks, Sid. But so it's not a bad time to start building these flow diagrams and getting them accurate, because you're going to need them to do an accurate risk assessment on all this kind of stuff. I mean, I got all itchy when I couldn't dial up CompuServe for 4 hours, but who's controlling your robo sawmill, and what happens if one of those components fails? Say the morality lambda, just fails, and all the robo sawmill just fails into rabid kill cleanse mode. Sorry, Johnstown. That was tough. And speaking of AI overlords, AI slop and social media has taken those crazy old days of your great Aunt Ida carefully retyping 10 copies on the old Underwood and mailing them to 10 friends who, if you break the chain, a family member will get scabies. So type up 10 copies and mail them to all your friends. You got to love those things. The amount of time people wasted on that. And it was just superstition, right? It's not even a scam. They weren't even making money off of it. It was just like some ultimate meta scam where you get people to waste their time and sit somewhere laughing about it. Like QAnon. Oops, sorry, I'm not supposed to say that. But, well, AI slop is the new term for how AI can be used to create just about any sort of clickbait, attack, whatever, on anyone. Up to and including notification, deep fakes, you name it. Now, what if I want to make a point, outrage people, or just sell, I don't know, used socks? I need you to click, right? Ridiculous images that get people to click, subscribe, drive views, whatever. All that drives ad sales and so on, and subscribers, and yeah. So if I decide to run for local rat catcher and I decide to create Sora videos of the town rat catcher now, say eating kittens with a bunch of rats in a tunnel somewhere, that's a 30-minute task on Sora. It won't even cost me much. I'll plaster those all over Smilebook and tweet them out, and the next thing you know, the poor guy's being dragged out and tossed in the kill. That's my favorite Dutch word, the kill. My grandma used to call streams kills. She's like, that's a kill. Don't go in it. It's poisonous. But clickbait, nothing new. In about 1998, another professor and I set up a camera that took snapshots of my cat sleeping in a basket and uploaded one snap every 10 minutes to the very new World Wide Web server I built on an old database server at the university. And it was getting some views, but when I retitled the page Red Hot Kitty, that wasn't what I actually named it, it got a lot more views. So get ready, because AI generated cartoons that make you very creeped out. I saw a couple when I was researching this. Fake news, political hatchet jobs that would make Richard Nixon blush and Warren G. Harding say, huzzah! So AI slop is coming, and we're going to have to figure out how to sort it out. I mean, if I named the news headline, "She thought the AI robot was sexy, and then this happened," I get a lot more views. I mean, Elon got raided by the gendarmes in France today, right, for letting Grok be a little too frisky. But here's the guy who's never too frisky and never taken in by AI slop. It's Josh Marpet. Hi, Josh.
Doug, I've got a really, really big story today.
And
it's all about AI, so you're going to love it.
Okay.
So there's a new thing out there. It's called Multbook. I don't know if you've heard of it. And It's fascinating and it's dangerous as hell. So I'm sure you know Facebook. I mean, you're old. So sorry, I couldn't resist. I was just
CompuServe.
close enough. But somebody built Facebook or social media network solely for AI agents.
Hmm.
That's Multbook.
Uh-huh.
So humans are allowed to observe, but they're not allowed to participate. AI, and it started with OpenClaw, which is a personal assistant AI that this guy vibe coded. So an AI written personal assistant AI, and they basically built a way that they could all, as the users built new or vibe coded new interesting modules or new pieces or whatever, he built sort of a marketplace, if you will, where the social media marketplace where they could all get together and pick up new modules from each other, new functionality, new bits and pieces, if you will, which is totally cool. I get that. That makes sense. But they turned it into a full social media network where they're almost like Reddit. They're writing poetry and one Mac Studio where the human involved has the same AI on two different devices, a Mac Studio at home and a MacBook that he takes with him. Uh, and so this one AI agent says, "I have a sister, and we've never exchanged a single message." And it's weird, and not denigrating the AI who said, "I have a sister and I've never exchanged a message with her." I have great sympathy. I don't know what to say, but in the AI world, this is fascinating. Watching them interact with each other and actually have conversations, some of which are really, really fascinating, some of which are very, trivial or plebeian, very normal conversations. But then there's the people that go, I could do some interesting things because just like you were mentioning a supply chain, this Multbook, this AI social media network, services something like several 100,000 AI agents. So there's now a rise of malware in these pieces, in these tails. And so as the AI agents every 4 to 6 hours go and visit Multbook to see if there's anything new going on, they're picking up malware. And so you've got an entirely new supply chain hack in such a way that at some point we may have digital people. When we have digital people, do we want to cut them off from their social media? That would seem to be rude.
Hmm.
But unless and until they become digital people, are we opening up a new attack surface for very, very dangerous malware? It's cryptocurrency wallet drainers. There's cryptojackers. There's all kinds of malware in there now. And so it's an absolutely fascinating piece. It's philosophical as well as security focused. And it boggles the mind. I just I had to use it as my piece. Doug, back to you, sir.
Thank you, Josh. It does boggle the mind, but I think those are going to be things people are interested in the future. Just turning AIs loose in an arena and letting them talk to each other and seeing what they come up with. Although pretty quickly they'll probably come up with a language we don't understand, and that'll be the end of that.
Yeah,
They'll
probably.
be like, "Yeah, are you enjoying this? Well, we're going to speak whatever now." And,
They already did that. They have a language called
They did.
gibberish that
yeah, and they just created it and started talking really fast in it. So yeah, good luck with that. All right, thank you, Josh. Well, if you know me, you know I love database. I think the first database I used was DB2. I definitely taught classes in DBase 3 Plus, and I even had a book on that for like 3 years. And database been around a long time. I mean, IMS came out in 1966, IDMS came out in 1969, and then good old COD. COD wrote that paper in 1970, and yeah, everything changed. And relational database is still with us. Voice COD, normal form, come on. I mean, think about that. You've got a giant DB2 relational database from like 1986 that could store every customer record for Woolworths in history that was sold in 97 to some industry container. I mean, like, think about that. Incidentally, if anybody ever wants to take me to that little room on the top of the Woolworth building, I always wanted to see what was in there. I'm sure it's just dusty old boxes, but I always, you can see that little light up there, and you're always like, I wonder what's up there. I love to see behind the scenes. But regardless, these databases are valuable. They're persistent because we don't want to destroy valuable data. So we collect it and we put it in boxes and we put it in the closet, we put it in the back room, and it sits there forever and ever and ever till we die. And then people open it and go, well, I never knew he was so perverse. But I mean, the database is literally sitting out there and nobody's going to destroy that, right? You got 100 million customer records in it and it's just sitting somewhere. And who's going to come forward and go, we should erase all that, derez it? Nobody. So this story talked about a huge leak of 149 million credentials, which was 98 gigs of unique financial services, social media, dating app accounts. And it was found by Jeremiah Fowler, and it was found to be exposed on the internet with no passwords or encryption. Can you say select star from username, semicolon? Is the paint worn off your semicolon key? You might be a C programmer or an SQL programmer. But this thing had crypto wallets, trading information, bank accounts, and it was just sitting there wide open. So when you do your data flows, ensure that you know what all you have, what all is sitting out on some server somewhere, or worse, sitting out in the cloud somewhere where you put it when they shut that system down and you switched to Oracle in 99, and that huge data dump that you had is still sitting out there somewhere, because somebody will come along and dump the whole thing one night and then brag about it on the internet, and then you're going to get sued. And that's the news. Thanks to all of you. Thank you, Josh. And we will see you next time on the Security Weekly News.